Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going over a breaking news report that Nikki Haley, former governor of South Carolina, and President Trump appointed U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, has come out against President Trump in recent days and has made a report saying that the Republican Party was wrong to follow President Trump, that he has, quote, fallen so far, and this one being the most decisive of them all, quote, we shouldn't have followed him. Now, this is to me big breaking election news, in my opinion, because Nikki Haley was seen by a lot of people to be the potential nominee in 2024 for the Republicans. The Republicans have had trouble in the last few elections. It's been a long time trend coming, but especially in the last few elections, with winning over women voters. Women voters have been consistently trending to both Democrats and leaving the Republican Party and just becoming unenrolled and independents. So Republicans are thinking, well, if we ran a woman candidate, maybe they would be able to win some of the women back. Nikki Haley was that candidate in a lot of people's mind. And then a lot of people started questioning what kind of Republican would Nikki Haley be. Because she wasn't a Trump Republican when she was governor of South Carolina. I remember watching a video a few years ago, and I believe it was Glenn Beck at the time, was going over the list of Republicans who could run in 2016. And Nikki Haley was in this kind of group that she wasn't like a John McCain moderate, but she wasn't a Ted Cruz, like, constitutionalist, very conservative. She was kind of in like this middle ground. And Nikki Haley then, of course, becomes President Trump's ambassador to the UN. And so everyone now kind of thinks of Nikki Haley as being tied to President Trump. And many people thought, well, Nikki Haley served in the Trump administration technically as the ambassador to the UN. She could be the candidate to win Trump voters, but also be a woman candidate as well. And now Nikki Haley's comments have come out, I think, is a very interesting strategic move, because I have no doubt in my mind Nikki Haley is gearing up for a presidential run in 2024. And Nikki Haley, I think, wants to get her name out there as much as she can, because she knows in 2024 she's going to have to compete with very, very big names. People like Ted Cruz, who finished in second in 2016. People like Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida right now. Maybe even Republican Senator Josh Hawley. All three of those candidates have made their names in the news a lot in the last few months. So Nikki Haley, I think, wants to keep her name relevant as well. So when it comes time for her to announce if she's going to run or not, voters will remember, I know who she is. And today's comments, Nikki Haley saying President Trump won't run again because he's fallen so far, and Republicans have made a mistake following him. To me, that is a very, very interesting move. And I honestly don't really know what the thought process is on this, to be completely honest with you. The establishment Republican Party in 2016 did not want President Trump to be the nominee. That was pretty much clear. But the Republican voters in the primary did. And so much so that despite everything going on now with the impeachment, President Trump among Republican voters is still very highly approved of, in most polls averaging support high 80s, 88% or so among Republican voters. Now, his support has dipped. Before the election, he was about 94% in the Republican Party. He's now down to 88%, so he has lost some support. But the party of the Republican Party is still very fond and approved of President Trump. President Trump has statistically gotten more Republican votes than any other Republican candidate in the history of our country. So Nikki Haley, who wants to run in 2024 and is tied to the Trump administration as the UN ambassador, coming out and saying that President Trump was a mistake for the party, I don't understand the political calculation move on that. Because to me, what this does is this hurts Nikki Haley's chances with the more President Trump strong voters. Now, 2024 is an interesting primary because if President Trump decides to run, that could really put a wrench in every single election rumor that there is. I think if President Trump runs in 2024, I think he's the GOP nominee. And I don't even think it's close. Maybe some other candidates run, but I'm pretty sure if Trump's running, he's the nominee. If President Trump doesn't run, it's a very open race that can go any way. For me, the people I think of first are, well, Senator Ted Cruz finished second in 2016 to President Trump, and he had the second most support to any Republican next to President Trump. So you have to put Ted Cruz in that list of serious contenders for that list. Number 2 could be Vice President Mike Pence. Now, Mike Pence, I would have thought, could have been the potential frontrunner, but a lot of Republican voters are upset with Mike Pence, and they believe that he's betrayed them, and he betrayed President Trump. So I think Mike Pence's chances of running in 2024, I think he knows are pretty much gone. I don't think he's going to run. If he does, I don't think he would win the primary. I think that Ted Cruz, Ron DeSantis of Florida, and Josh Hawley of Missouri right now are all being the biggest adamant supporters of President Trump. And I think the Republican voters recognize that. So when it comes time for the candidates to start announcing, if President Trump doesn't run, the Republican primary, which typically votes farther to the right than the national election, will support the candidates who supported their president. And Nikki Haley, by saying that Trump was a mistake, I don't think it was a necessarily smart move to say that. Now, without a doubt, I believe she's saying what she believes. She is saying what she believes to be the truth. Which, of course, anytime a politician speaks the truth and what they actually believe, I think it's admirable because I feel like it doesn't happen all too often, to be completely honest with you. But if Nikki Haley wants to win the Republican primary in 2024, she's going to have to win over a lot of people who voted for President Trump in 2016. She can't win this primary on running against the Trump sentiment. And by coming out and saying that Trump was a mistake and he's fallen so far, I don't think this is necessarily a good political move for her. Now, I understand something that President Trump coined a lot was that all publicity is good publicity. But when it comes to President Trump, if people are very adamant supporters of him in the Republican primary, I don't think bashing him and calling him a mistake is going to help Nikki Haley. Now, of course, 2024 is a long ways away, and there's a very good chance a lot of voters probably will forget about this. But I think at this time, a lot of Republican voters will remember for the next few months and even the next 2 years who the strong supporters of President Trump were. And I don't know if Nikki Haley kind of showed that in this. I don't think it's going to be her. And I think that could be a negative reflection of that in the Republican primary. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you always get updated when I post a new video. Make sure you tap the bell icon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.